And it's people ask me all the time, how did you know? And I said, very, very easy. I said, I watched the man that lived across the street from where we lived. I grew up in Manassas Park. I watched the man across the street from the age of 10 till about the age of 12. So over a 2-year period, he retired. I took an early retirement from Sears. He bought the first seamless gutter machine in Northern Virginia. So at that time, you only bought gutters in 10-foot sections, and you put it together, and that's where it would always leak, and that's just what you expected. So he bought this machine that would make a 400-foot long gutter and no seams, and started contracting through Sears. And I watched him in 2 years go from being as poor as we were to all of a sudden, he's got new vehicles and he's building a house. He built a 120-foot long Rambler on a full basement on 5 acres in Nokesville, and I thought was the richest man I knew. And I witnessed it happen, so I thought, you know what, I can do it. So I just started working for him. I was the guy when the gutters hit the ground, I would take my little tape measure and I'd cut it into 8-foot sections, load it in the truck, rake up all the debris that fell out, and he would pay me $10 a day, and I'd go sit under the shade and read comic books for the rest of the day. I mean, but I watched him, I observed. So my wife and I, my soon-to-be wife, it was as simple as, I'm going to follow him. I'm going to follow in his footsteps, and I'm going to do exactly what he does. It may take me longer because, the economy or whatever, but I had what we called in our family, we have the Mexican mentality. Means we work. We work no matter how long it takes. As a matter of fact, as I grew and went up in his company, he used to call me, and it wasn't racist back then. We didn't know any. I mean, I didn't take it as being racist, but he used to call me his Mexican backhoe. Y'all know what a backhoe is? It's a piece of machinery. And I was proud of it, because he was bragging on me to the people that they could dump 2 dump truckloads of gravel, give me a wheelbarrow and a shovel, and I would move that whole pile inside the basement. I never complained because I knew I was on a path, and I would eventually get there, but I just had to work for it. So Robin and I got married at 18. I went to work for him full-time after I graduated and stopped working just in the summers. Within 1 year, I was running his crew out in the field. So I surpassed, he had 4 other employees, and they hated me because I wanted to be his number one, and I just worked my way up through the ranks. I would stay late. I would work weekends. It didn't matter. I told my wife before we got married, I said, I'm going to work a lot of hours. You know that, right? And she goes, I know, but it'll be worth it. Be worth it in the end. So, I became his foreman, and within a year and a half, I knew that I had learned all I could learn from him, and it was time to move on. So I moved to North Carolina. The reason why I made that decision, it was a crossroads in my life. I realized it was all about the money for him. Okay, he was in business just for the dollar. There was no pride. And the way I figured it out was, I asked him if I could build a house. Could he help me build a house on this side? He gets the loans. I will do all the work, and we'll sell the house and then split the money with me. So he did that. So he was getting mad at me because I put more quality into the house that we were doing on his job. So I was learning, because our path is all about learning. And I realized it's just about the money with him. And that was okay, but I wanted to make my mark. So it came out of his mouth one day that I heard him say to another subcontractor, I'm rich. I'm tired of hiding it. And that hit me wrong, because to me, it was a very arrogant thing to say. So I just stored it away. I said, I'm going to treat my employees better than that. He never had an employee longer than 5 years. So I just observed, and I just got better. And I thought, well, money will come by doing what you love. You do it for the love of doing it. You got to make a living. And sometimes you have to work 7 days a week to make that living, but you're still trying to make your name. Your name is the value. It's not what you do, it's your name. So I don't know why I knew that. I took all the pieces and I started out on my own, and I used Mike Garcia Construction. I felt like, what better way of creating quality, and I want to protect my name. So off I went, and for about 15 years, I had blinders on. I built 5 houses a year for 15 years, and I did everything. When I say everything, I framed them, I cleared the trees off of the lots. I didn't lay the block, but I poured the footings. I framed the houses. I trimmed the houses. I even put in the yards and the driveways. I did as much as I could, and I did five houses a year. And I never focused on the money. It was all about the quality, and the houses were getting more and more complicated. And I'm doing the pre-selling, and I was my own salesman. And when people were struggling to sell their house, I would say, "You have a house to sell?" And they'd say, "Yeah, but I can't sell it." I'll say, "Well, how much equity do you think you have in your house? I'd like to come see your house." So I'd go look at the house, and I'd go, "I can build you a house, and I'll take your house in on trade, and I'll give you I'll take $50,000 off of the value of a new house, and we'll just trade houses." And I was doing that, and other people were sitting back, and they couldn't sell their houses, and I was to me, it was just another little stepping stone. And all of a sudden, my wife and I owned about 25 rental properties, and it created a nightmare of headaches. So to get a phone call in the middle of the night that the house is on fire, or a pipe burst and it's just flooding the house, I realized this is probably not how I'm going to create wealth. It helps. I didn't understand money. I didn't understand investing. All I knew was what I knew, which was construction and making a name for myself. So I started selling those off. Well, in 1996, I read The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump. Okay, whether you like the man or not, I had no idea who he was. That book was referred to me, and it was like my blinders came off. And I told my wife, I said, "I think it's time I build an office building." So I'll never forget it. She just said, she laughed at me. She said, "With what?" And I said, "I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out." So what I did is, this is how simple it is. And I certainly don't wanted to make it sound like it's simple, because it's not. You have to have guts to do this. You have to be fearless, okay? And I'll get into that a little bit later, but I didn't want to fail. I was the only son, and as you know, in our culture, we're expected to take care of the family, right? So I knew that was going to be on me, so I could not fail. But I knew this was the right thing to do. So I called John Norman of Norman Realty back in the time. John's since passed on. And he sent me out with his son to look at commercial properties. So we spent a half a day, and then I asked him, I said, "So John, if you were me, or it was Jay, his son. I said, Jay, if you were me, which one would you go with? And because that's something I'd always ask my trades. Hey, if this was your house, how would you do this? So I wanted his opinion, and he said, I would go with this one, and this is why, and made a lot of sense. So I put $5,000 on that piece of property, and I said, do you know of an architect? Because I was drawing my own house plans, and that's all I knew was residential. So he gave me the name of an architect. So I went to the architect. His name was Mike Harrell. I said, Mike, I don't have any money to pay you right now. I said, but this is the piece of property that I have. I said, could you draw me a building that goes on it? And he says, well, yeah, I can do that. He says, but first you need to go to an engineer, and you need to have an engineer take the lot and figure out how much parking you need, and then give me the size of a building, and I'll draw you something. I said, okay. So I did that. I went to my residential engineer, and he did that for me. And I didn't charge me a lot of money. I went back to the architect. He drew me a building. It was on a ledger piece of paper. I still have it. And I just went around to every business owner that I knew, and I said, I'm thinking about building an office building. Do you want to be my partner? And I had to go through about a dozen people, and I found, his name's Bill Latham. He owns Budget Motels. And he says, yeah, I think I would like to do it. How much is it going to cost? I said, I figure it's going to cost $4 million. He goes, okay, well, bank's going to require 25% down, $1 million. I have my $500,000. Do you have yours? And I went, no, not yet, but I will. I said, I'll get back with you. So in reading that book, it starts with an idea, and then you just got to get down into the weeds. And I said, well, my builder fee was going to be $375,000. This will be good, Nathan. You'll like this one. $375,000. So I called BB&T and I said, is there any way you could just keep that $375,000 and I'll give you $125,000 spread out over 6 draws while I'm building the building? And they said, I don't know. Nobody's ever asked us that. Let me check. They came back and says, yeah, we'll let you do that. So I literally, that's how I started my first office building. So, and that's something that I, of course I had houses that I'm trying to sell, and I sold some of those and used it to put in the $125,000. But that was my first building. That was in 1997. It was the first office building that had been built in Prince William County in like 10 years. I mean, it was a dry period. So I jumped out first, it leased up, and then I'm in commercial construction too. So we started growing our commercial division. 38. So I'm in my 38th year now. I've accumulated. I think this sounds terrible, and I should know this, but again, it's not about the money. And I have about 46, 47, 48 properties in my family's portfolio that we manage. I don't do it. My sons do it. My wife does it. So my construction company has become a tool in my toolbox to create generational wealth. And I think, especially for our heritage, it's about family. It starts with family. I'm embarrassed to say when I remember this, and I tell people that I'm embarrassed about it. When my wife and I, from such a young age, I told her, when we waited over 5 years to have kids, because I was working all the time. And I told her, but when we start having kids, I'm going to pull back. And then the kids, we ended up having 2 sons. And and I wanted more, but I told her, I said, because it's the kids are on you. I'm working, and that was the deal. And I told her, I said, if we can, because the value of anything you get out of life. I've been married 41 years now, and that truly is the greatest success of my life. It really is, because I wouldn't have done it without her. We don't need that. Men know we could live in a garage, have a nice car and live in a nice garage. It doesn't take that much. But, there's been plenty of times when my wife has said, when is enough enough? Okay? We've had all of those. In my business, it's like this. So we've weathered 3 really hard recessions. And you got to know it's going to come. If you're in business today, you've got to know that, like, right now is the time to be putting 110% in it. And when my oldest son got he graduated from UVA on a Sunday. Monday, the next day, I put him building a 40,000 square foot medical office building. Okay? There was no week vacation, off in the tropics. No. He knew if you're going to come in our business, you are going to work. My average employee stays with our company. I'd say right now our average is probably 16 years. The oldest, he retired for medical reasons. He was with us 34 years. When he came to work for me, he was living in a van. He was 17 years old, living in the back of a van. So, my employees become family. My goal with every employee is for me to help them build a house. That should be everybody's goal. You can buy a house, but build a house. Put the thought into that house. I just hired someone. I've known him since he was 2 years old. His name is B.J. Braden. He's a son of one of my partners in the excavation business. Hard working. Worked for his dad. But his dad is not like me. He's just hard. He's hard on his kids, and there's a balance there, and that balance wasn't there, and you got to figure out. You just got to figure out what that balance is. But I always thought, man, what a great worker, But he didn't pay him enough. He gave him a place. He gave him a house to live in. He gave him a vehicle to drive. Paid for his insurance. But his salary was so small that what his father didn't realize, his friends all make 10 times more money than he does. They live in nicer houses, but he was going to inherit a big chunk of money. My Hornbaker project, he's my partner in that development. We made a lot of money off that development. It's an industrial park called Hornbaker Industrial Park. And but you can't expect your kids to be a slave to you and then wait for you to die. That's not good. That's not good. It doesn't bring them along the way that you should bring them. So. But anyway, so he came. He quit his father, and I stayed out of it for 1 year. And my oldest son, Michael, says, "Dad, I think you should reach out to BJ because somebody's going to grab him." And so before I did, I talked to his father and made sure it was okay. I said, "Look, somebody's going to get him. Why don't you let me offer him a job and see if he would take it. At least he's close. He's not going to move out of state because you guys may make amends and he may come take over your company." So he was fine with that. So I offered him a job, got him on board. Within 2 months, I took him to a 1-acre lot up on Bull Run Mountain that I buy things and just stick it on the shelf. It was a 1-acre lot that I paid $25,000 for because it didn't perk. It means you couldn't get a drain field, if y'all know what that is. But I knew how to solve all those things. So I solved it, and then I had $30,000 into it, and I said, BJ, would you like to build a house here? I said, I'll sell you the lot. I sold it to him for $10,000. That gives you an idea of who I am. I sold it to him for $10,000, and I said, you can use the equity and value of this land, and you won't have to put any money out of your pocket. You can build a house, and it was like the greatest gift I could ever give someone. So, do you think he's going anywhere? No. No. And he's been working on his house for 1.5 years. Okay? I mean, he's taken forever. He wants to do everything himself because he's going to live there his entire life. So you help people, and you share. Because I was talking to Nathan earlier, money is the root of all evil. It is. I've witnessed it. I've seen people's family, parents die, the kids turn on one another, and that's part of it. You gotta. The value is knowing how to make it, knowing that you've got the security of knowing no matter what happens in the world, you can survive. That's why I personally believe a trade school, the greatest value we can give our kids is to teach them our work ethics. Mm-hmm. My kids have seen how I work, and it still is to this day. I can tell you this, I can work about 31 to 32 days in a row, and then I have to have 3 days off. So I'm pushing about 30 days. My energy level is really low, so I'm going to be recharging. I'm taking Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off, but that's me. That's what drives me. It's not the money. It's creating the relationships, helping as many people as I can. I want to give you guys something that you can take away from this today that can alter how you think, and I think the way I can do that is, even to this day, I checked how many emails I have in my computer, and I don't erase emails. I'm involved in 23 different LLCs. I have many, many partners. There's many, many things get said, and I have to protect myself. Mm-hmm. So I'm afraid to, but I have 293 emails I have not opened. And if I opened them, I made it to be unread so that I'll go back to it. Okay, but it's so I know I'm falling behind. I know it. Okay, but I'm still doing the best I can. And anybody, if they get to me, I apologize. But it's not for me, because I have built some of the most gorgeous things for people. People come to me and it's like, I have the money, I can afford anything I want, I just don't want to be taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. So, I've built bowling alleys in people's houses, indoor swimming pools, secret rooms, gun vaults. What I just tell people, whatever you think you're going to tell me it's unique, I've already done it, and your secrets are your secrets. They'll never go anywhere. But they've known that it's my passion. They chose me not because I was the smartest guy. It's just because I had a passion to work for them. And you know what? I know I have 10 times the money that most people come to me that wants me to build a house. But you know what? I still have that passion. It's not about the money. I tell people, I want to satisfy you so that you'll tell everybody you know how you were treated. And we don't advertise. We've never really advertised, other than I tell people, good people help good people. So if I can satisfy you, you'll spread my name. And they do. And
You still have your rap car?
I do. I do have a little smart car. When they first came out, we bought one and we wrapped it, Mike Garcia Construction, and I will drive that thing. And
employees do you have right now?
We had as many, in the boom time, we had about 30.
Because I know it goes up and down.
Yeah, we had about 30, and I will tell you this. I didn't make any more money when I had 30 as I do now at 15. Okay?
You do all that with 15.
Right. So we're smarter now. I know I have partners that did $40 million worth of volume, and they broke even. Okay? Now, he says he breaks even, but if you calculate the liability, okay, that he takes on, because he has over 100 employees, and he's had employees turn equipment over and die, and he has trucks on the road that gets in accidents and kill people. Okay, so he's always in a lawsuit. Always in a lawsuit. Now, for me, that's just not me. But he's very, it goes very gradual, and everyone seems to think that, the more I do, the more money I'll make. That's not true. Okay? It's not about working, more and making more. It's about being smarter. I'm more the tortoise. I want it, I've always said, I want to do this 50 years. 50 years. Now, that I'm in my 38th year. So another 12 years, I think I'll make it. I really do. I think I'll make it. I've learned a lot of things. I mean, in 1999, let me just back up. So when I jumped out and built that first office building, it brought some attention to me. Economic development. I mean, they got me a building permit off of a footing plan. I didn't even have a full set of plans. There was nothing had been built in so long. When I was naive enough to think, I'm going to build an office building, everybody was like, come on, here. They gave me a building permit, off I went. Well, it got the attention of Cardinal Bank, if y'all remember Cardinal. So, they approached me, they said, would you like to become a director for the bank? And I'm like, well, I don't know a whole lot about banks. I'm afraid of banks. I'm afraid they're going to come knock on the door and want to, call the loans that I have, so maybe I should go over to the other side a little bit, learn a little bit. So when they said, yeah, you only have to buy $50,000 worth of stock. And it was like, do what? But I did it. I did it. I probably took a second out on my house or something. I don't know, but I came up with the money, and I was one of 11 directors, and I learned about money. And what it taught me was, what? It's a relationship. It's a partnership. So don't think of your bank as, it's us against them. They are your partner, okay? They want you to succeed. You just got to be very transparent with them, let them know the challenges, and they want you to succeed. So I had to learn all this from the inside. And so when United Bank bought Cardinal, I was the only director they asked to come over. Now, I think it's because of my last name. That's what I tell people. I think because they were just a bunch of white people. They didn't even have a woman. So I went over. They did have one woman. So I went, and I was there for 1 year, and then John Marshall asked me to come over to their bank, and it's a small community bank. So I like small community banks. The big bank, I will tell you, I'm going to write a book. It'll be funny. It'll be the funniest book, going building for people, because I built houses for people trying to save a marriage, and it never worked. Never worked. But a lot of funny stories. But I just lost my train of thought.
While you're thinking, 'cause I know you have to leave.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to introduce Danae Lewis. She's at the museum now. I know you guys helped at the museum. She's in the gift shop area, so she has got some treats for you all when Mike is done. This is courtesy of Danae, and we'll just keep it
Thank you.
there. That's right.
That was the
It's at
secret.
museum.
That was the secret you were doing, right? There was a
Oh, yeah.
secret. Yeah.
So you remember that? So thank you. All right. Go ahead, Mike.
So anyway, I got a call from BB&T. This will keep you awake at night. So I did a 100-acre commercial residential mixed-use development down on Quantico, down off Route 1. This was back, 2000. It was wide open. I mean, just wide open from 2000, obviously, to about 2006. And I knew it was riding, and I knew it was going to eventually, run out. So, and I had experience talking with other customers of the bank that were much older than me and had done everything that I'm doing. I'm big at not being the first. I like to follow. Remember my mentor? I just want to follow in his footsteps. I don't have to be the guy that creates everything. I just, because it's not about the money. Because I'm doing this over 50 years. It takes a lot of the pressure off. But so I did this mixed development. I sold off 100 lots to Washington Homes for $5 million, right? I sold 300 apartment units for $3 million. And then I was going to keep the commercial component out on Route 1. And I donated 17 acres to a church for a $3 million tax write-off because it was zoned for apartments. I mean, I'm in the middle of all of this and figuring it all out, and I was having a blast. And I built the first building, and the FBI came to me and they said, we want 2 floors, 10-year lease. So, I mean, it's all just, you just had to show up. You had to show up, and you had to spend 10, 12-hour days and just, just stay in the game, stay healthy. Number one, stay healthy. And but when I went to my second building pad and built the building, I landed the United Mine Workers. It was their national headquarters. They took 2 floors in the building, and then 2006 hits. And BB&T calls me up and says, Mike, we really appreciate all the business that you've given us over the years, but we'd like you to pay your loan down $1.5 million. And I'm like, do what? I said, are you kidding me? No, Mike, we did an in-house appraisal. And, things they're not valued what they used to be, so we need you to pay $1.5 million. Pay your loan down $1.5 million. Now, I was only a 25% partner, okay, because I am the creator. I'm the construction guy, so I'd find the dirt, I would develop it, I would take and find the users, I'd bring them in, and I would retain a small piece, like 25%. That was kind of my norm. Even my office building that I'm in now on the Prince William Parkway, right where Old Bridge Road and the Parkway hit, there's a mini land.
Keller Williams building?
Yeah, the Keller Williams building. It's really my building, but I put their name. They're helping me pay off my building. My building will be paid off in 4.5 years.
Wow.
4.5 years. So I put their name on it. It's not an ego thing. I'm in the basement. I'm in the basement of my
So
own
you're on the
building.
backside.
I'm in the cheap rent. But yeah, so so I only had 25%, but still $1.5 million. That was a chunk of money. So I said, you sure you want to do this? Because I've given you guys, I don't know, $300 million worth of business over the years. yeah, Mike, I'm sorry, this is coming from corporate, out of North Carolina. And I said, okay, well, let me just send you over a list of all the accounts that I have with you, including all the condo associations that I created that I'm the president of, and let me just send that over to you. Maybe that'll make a difference. Oh, okay, well, I sent it over. They call me back, yeah, Mike, wow, we had no idea how much money you had in our bank. I got you approved to own, you only have to pay $1 million. So I had two other partners, so I took a $250,000 check over to them, and I said, here's my 25%. You guys send it off, and it was like flushing the toilet. But not really, because we weren't going to sell the building anyway. Because real estate goes up and down, and I, no matter what you do in your business, you should dabble in real estate. Okay, just know it. There's been more millionaires made from real estate, and I think that will be the case going forward. I don't think that ever will change. Would you agree?
Yep.
So it's not something, it can be a lot of headaches, but no matter what you do, whatever business you have, you want to own obviously you want to own your own house, you want to own your own business. So one of the successful things I did is just realizing that, and over at Hornbaker, we created these warehouse condo buildings. They were 86,000 square feet. They were 37, 2,100 square foot little condo bays, and we started selling those to small business owners. And I was telling Nathan, in our portfolio we have about 35, 36 of them, and they're all full, every one of them. And I would tell you, if you ever get an opportunity to buy one, buy it. Because it is to me, and I'm involved in a lot of real estate, a condo warehouse is the safest commercial real estate that you could own. Okay, because the tenant takes care of everything on the inside. The condo association takes care of everything on the outside. So for you as the owner, obviously if you're going to run your business out of it until you hopefully outgrow it, then you go up somewhere else and you retain it. You own it personally and you rent it to your company. So your company's profits can pay for your personal asset. Okay, because at the end of the day, that's, how many here believe Social Security is going to take care of us when we get older? No, that money is going to be squandered. So it's us and our work ethic, and is what's going to give us that, as we get older, that lifestyle that we're going to want.
On behalf of the Prince William Chamber and the Hispanic Council, we want to present you with this small token of our appreciation and let you know that it means a lot for you to take time out of your busy schedule and everything you've got going on to come and share some of your experience, your wisdom with us. So we're presenting this to you in recognition for your support of the Prince William Chamber Hispanic Council. Your tireless dedication and commitment to our community continues to greatly impact the lives of those who live, work, play in Prince William. And thank you very much. And as we do in the military, we're also presenting you with the Prince William Chamber coin for all the contributions that you made. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And here's your certificate. And
Thank
let's
you.
take a picture.